Hey, good evening. It's PopPop here at his LitRPG world, going live for the very first time. No more pre-recorded interviews. And my guest this evening, Nicholas Sansbury Smith, the author of Salvage System, the author of Helldivers, Orbs, the Extinction
Extinction
System,
Cycle. Extinction Cycle.
Other books, about over 40 books. Thank you for coming in tonight. And what do we call you for this purpose?
Yeah, absolutely. Nicholas Sansbury Smith's my real name. I go by Nick. Call me Nick.
I'll call you Nick.
Yeah.
All right, Nick, do me a favor. We have a very strict 30-minute time frame tonight because of commitments.
Little kiddos.
Little kiddos. So give me the 2-minute, 1-minute author's summary
of Salvage System. Sure.
Yep.
So I'll start by saying Salvage System is my first lit RPG. Typically, I write post-apocalyptic fiction, so I found the systems apocalypse subgenre to be the most appealing, and I thought I'd feel more at home writing in that. I am a gamer, haven't gamed recently due to, again, little kids, but I grew up playing all sorts of games, Doom, Halo. Like, I was obsessed in college. I did a lot of the Lord of the Rings games. More recently, it's more of like the Call of Duty style. Gears of War is probably my favorite, actually, overall, besides Halo. And, you know, I got some inspiration for Salvage System in that, but I wanted to try to make a little bit of a unique system setup where it's geared around salvaging stuff. And that's really kind of what I did in Helldivers 2. A lot of that book is geared towards survivalism and salvaging parts to keep these airships in the sky. In Salvage System, the main character is a young man. He's a construction worker working on one of the largest buildings in New York, which I'm very familiar with, been out there a lot. And so I was able to set a lot of the landmarks that I'm accustomed to in New York into this book, hopefully making it somewhat realistic, as much as a lit RPG, alien invasion, AI type apocalypse can be, especially with the talking rat, who it becomes the guide and becomes Christopher, the construction worker's main sidekick throughout this kind of chaotic apocalyptic scenario that hits New York and transforms its buildings, starting into like medieval castles and all the way up through the ages into the Egyptian pyramids, Japanese samurai battlefields. I mean, I wanted to try to do something different and unique, and I felt that was the way what I could bring to the table. I do have quite a bit of stats. That was difficult for me. Had a good editor at Athon that helped make sure everything was accurate. And yeah, it's progresses. There's a lot of action. There's a lot of battles. Book 2 is going to be out in January. It's been done a while. Started working on book 3. This is also an audiobook narrated by Michael Kramer, who does a fantastic job. Let me see. I think that's a little bit over 2 minutes, but should give you a decent idea.
I'll take it. I want to have those insights. Again, Athon published the book. I want to give a shout out to them for everything they've been doing for the lit RPG industry or genre, with
definitely.
the new authors, also getting the old guard redone in hardcovers and getting the genre out to Barnes and Noble, into the real bookstores. That is going to be a major plus, and I cannot wait to see how 2026 goes for Athon. Lit RPG, sci-fi, mystery, thriller, Vault comics. You know, I even have a Vault comic back there someplace, which I'll talk about when I finish it up. But they're doing great things, and I'm glad that they picked you up and brought you to Lit RPG. I have not read Helldivers. I have not read the prequel, but I have one of them behind me. That is going to be something I'll start moving into, just for for my benefit, to understand you a little bit more. With Salvage System, you did a good job.
Oh, I appreciate that. Thank you.
It is a unique post-apoc system. It starts out, Chris knowing nothing. Chris finding Bunny Capone
Yeah.
Bunny Capone, a swole rat guide. Who I think without, there you go, that's the swole rat. Without
Yeah.
him, the book would have ended in page 5. Chris would have been dead by that archer or by somebody,
Oh,
just
right. Yeah.
right off that. All the guides are animals. Was that a purposeful choice on that?
Yeah.
Raccoons and
There's gonna
dog,
be
gecko.
there's going to be some twists, I think, later in the series on kind of the origin of these animals, but I'm a big animal guy. With all of my books, I have a dog. So, I mean, this is the first. Actually, no, there was a rat in my Extinction Cycle 2, Piero, I believe his name was, and he was kind of like a pet rat. It was much more realistic. Actually, rats are very intelligent creatures. One of my good friends had 2 rats, and the rats got along with his dog, and they're pretty smart. New York City uh, is kind of the hub of rat kingdoms. Truly, they are. I was just out there 2 months ago, and they have this massive, massive blow up rat outside Wall Street. And when you're walking around, you can see rats at night, and it's very much a New York thing. So that's kind of why I went with the rat character. Just thought it would fit in. But Bunny actually isn't a rat. So I
That
mean, he
kind of
is, yeah, but he's not. He's an alien. So
okay.
try
So
not to
that's
give
going
too
to
many
be something that we
spoilers.
learn.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's already kind of been implied, and he's talked about that. He's not from Earth, and right now he's taken on a rat form. So, um, yeah, I like animals a lot, and I think they're fun. In this book, I was able to play around with them a lot more in terms of characters, because in when I'm writing sci-fi, it has to be realistic to a certain extent. Like, you can hand wave, but you can't have a rat talking in Helldivers, right? You could have a dog that is intelligent, but that dog can't communicate. Whereas in Salvage System, the animals can communicate, and I thought that was a lot of fun. Um,
You can create your system however you want it to be, as long
right.
as you don't go too nuts.
Yeah.
Um, Now it is a brutal system within the 5,000 salvagers that
Right.
the system sets up. People just die. I mean, thank God you're not seeing all the thousands of them die off in whatever horrible deaths you've created for them. We only had to deal with that towards the end. But we did come up with a good group. It is a found family to a degree,
Hmm.
um, and quite an interesting diversity of people in that group. Ultimately, and I did get surprised. You caught me at the end with who was the bad guy in reality. Um, so kudos to that with that final fight scene. Um, that was pretty cool the way it just developed. How the alien influence exposed itself and set up book 2. So my question for you is, with the changes at the end of the book, setting up book 2, is it going to retain its lit RPG ness, its the good crunchy level that you made for this,
Hmm.
or is it going to go a little bit more progression
Um,
fantasy without that, or what's going on?
so in book 2, I'm trying to think of a way I can describe this without having spoilers, but you know how in some lit RPGs the stats will reset, or the character will lose powers or gain new powers? That's kind
Mhm.
of what direction I go in book 2. So it's a new set of skills, a new type of salvaging that has to be done, um, in order for Chris to continue progressing and getting more powerful, and proving to the system that he can be a champion. Um, and it's set on in a different location as
Yes, it
well.
is.
So, I think that's all I can really say without giving away too much.
Yep, I don't want to do that either. So why did you pick now?
Status quo. You mean, oh, to write the book?
Yes, come
You
over
know,
into the lit RPG genre.
yeah, I'd actually wrote this book a while ago. It took a little while to get published, but I had planned on moving into lit RPG couple years ago, just trying it out, and I like to experiment with things. I write a lot of different series. Helldivers and Extinction Cycle are probably my biggest, but I ended Extinction Cycle a while ago, and Helldivers kind of has come to a close. Mostly I've done some side stories, might do some new stuff in that, but it was just got to a point where it's like I want to try something new that's outside of my genre. I started off writing just post-apocalyptic fiction, then got into space opera. I really like space opera. I wrote Galaxy in Flames a couple years ago. It's a trilogy, and that had some humor in it. It had some real fun characters, some alien characters, and that got me excited about doing lit RPG as well because you can just play around a lot more in the
Mhm.
sandbox, I feel like. And I did my research. I read quite a few lit RPG books and decided I kind of wanted to go more of like the systems apocalypse, but add some humor into it, or at least my attempt at humor,
Mhm.
my personal humor level, I guess. And then I wanted to have like a splash of horror, because I do all of my military sci-fi books kind of have some horror in them. Even my first series, Orbs, which is an alien invasion. So that's just like a blend of everything I've written. You have the space opera, the horror, the military sci-fi, and then you have animals, and it just that's what Salvage System became. Um, I initially thought about doing like a fantasy, like a progressive fantasy, um, but and I started writing it, but it just didn't. I had a few people read it and encouraged me to do more of like a post-apocalyptic. So I think if I do this again, that's maybe what I'll do, is like a post-apocalyptic world, but more fantasy. So it'd be like after a systems apocalypse, like far
Mhm.
into the future. And I've already started writing one, but I kind of put it aside for now. Have a lot of books
Everyone
going
knows
on.
that I'm a big fan of the post apoc, so
That's cool.
that's a well known thing in the genre for me. So yeah, it's cool that you left it. To me, it was limited. I don't think it affected Iowa adversely this time around.
Right. Um,
What
Not
is
yet.
what's wait? Okay, what's harder, your system or winter in Iowa?
Right now winter sucks. I was just outside trying to shuffle around the cars, get the kiddos in one of them, and it's brutal right now, but it's worse in Minnesota. I have a little cabin up there where I go write sometimes. I'm heading up there next week, and it's going to be way below zero up there. Just brutal and pretty dark. I'm a fan of the sun and sunshine and not cold weather. So it's hard, but I don't know. I
I
like it for
was
like a week.
I was a little chilly today with it with about 50 degrees here in mid Florida. So, I was suffering. So
Yeah, that sounds like vacation type
there
weather
you
for
go.
us in the
Um,
winter. Yeah.
so one of the things that I found different with Salvage System was the use of the skills. You had to activate them. They're just not
Oh, right.
something you could swing your sword or swing your hammer
Yeah.
and just have it bash the crap out of someone. You actually had to decide what action you were going to implement, what skill you're going to use when you swung the hammer, and you actually had to verbally do it. Why did you pick that way to have Chris get better? What was the decision behind that? Because that's different. That's a unique set.
Yeah, I wanted him to have to be trained a little bit by Bunny, and I thought there was an opportunity to use some humor too, like when he's not saying things correctly, to activate certain
Mhm.
weapons or to salvage. I think that's how, subconsciously how that started, and then I just kind of went with it. I'm trying to remember a lit RPG I read where it was similar to that, which one it was, but I guess it just, and like first off, I should say like I am not an expert at LitRPG at all, and when I saw that the future of LitRPG was in the title list, I'm like, I'm not the person that you should be talking to for the future of LitRPG. I'm just playing in the sandbox right now. I'm having fun,
That's
and
okay.
there's a lot of amazing stories out there, and it's been interesting to watch this genre grow from the genres that I've written in, because when I started, post-apocalyptic was massive. Like Wool was kind of like DCC is now, right? Like it's got a worldwide audience, it's got a TV show. Like the traditional publishers caught on to it. They put Wool into it was like the first paperback hardcover deal for indie author that didn't give up the ebook rights too. Like that was unheard of at the time.
Right.
And now that's kind of what's happened with DCC and some of the stuff you mentioned with Athon. Like I saw He Who Fights Monsters is getting a hardcover, and it just really the whole publishing industry has changed dramatically in the past 15 years, and the gatekeeping has kind of come down for a lot of these publishers and like agents, and like Amazon has just opened the door. So has Royal Road really opened the door,
Oh,
I think,
without
for
a doubt.
for the lit RPG genre. 100% it's opened it up, and now all those, Athon's picking up a lot of those authors and publishing them on Amazon, and it's really cool to see people get their stories out there that might never have been able to reach an
Hmm.
audience 15 years ago. So, I mean, it's like Andy Weir when he wrote The Martian, he started publishing that story chapter by chapter on his website, and it got an audience. It's kind of like Royal Road, right? Except for it was
Right.
his
Yep.
website.
Patreon
And
similar.
yeah, so it's pretty cool to see. I mean, I, for one, would not be here if it weren't for Amazon. I don't think I could have ever I wouldn't have had the ability, more than likely, to get a traditional published deal like I did without Amazon, because I got one after my first book went viral on Amazon. That's what opened the doors for me. Then and I've kind of gone
That's
back and
Duke, by the
forth.
way.
Hi Duke. Is
He
he
does that
a
every
a
once in a while.
boxer? Okay, is that a boxer? Is he a Duke a
He's a
boxer?
boxador.
Cool. He's camped back down now.
Yeah. Now he's just lounging. So yeah, I mean, you're absolutely right, and I like the fact that you talk about, you mentioned Wool. We know who that is. That's Silo for the people who haven't,
Yeah.
didn't pay attention to Wool and Dust, and the trilogy there, or the trilogy and the extra stories. But again, the difference there is when Hugh sold the story rights or the movie rights, the TV rights, you have to give up so much. You have to trust, just like Matt's going to have to do with DCC. You're going to have to trust the showrunners and the writers to do what they have to do for the new medium, because they change a lot of things for Wool, um, and probably for the better. So again, you're now into lit RPG. You're learning. That's a good thing. And again, Athon helped you out with that and put you up onto Amazon. How many books are we going to have?
For Salvage System, it's just
Yes.
3 is what I'm contracted with Audible for, and I'm gonna keep it at 3 for sure. Um, I have quite a bit other commitments right now too. So I have 4 books coming out in a series called Old Guns starting next year, and then I have
Saw that.
some new Helldiver stuff, and then I'm working on another series with a co-writer that has not been announced yet. What else do I have going on? Oh, and then I'm actually finishing an Untitled series, right? Well, book 1 in the Untitled series right now. Should be finishing that next week. So it's not a lit RPG. It's post-apocalyptic. It's similar to Helldivers type story.
I
So
love
that's
them.
what I love to write it. Yeah, I love to read it. I mean, that's just the genre I love. So um,
As
I
long as
feel
they don't
like
have zombies or vampires, I'm there.
that
So
was big. Vampires were massive, like very popular when I first started. I've never written a vampire story. My Extinction Cycle is Zombies with science is kind of how I pitched it, and I used they are not zombies; they're very sick living people that are very dangerous creatures that through epigenetic changes they turn into killing machines. And that series, I think the amount of science that I used in it really made it different from the zombie books at the time, and I think that's what made it unique and helped it reach the level it did. And those are actually being republished by Aethon next year. I wrote 6 Extinction Cycle books, self-published them, then Hachette Orbit picked them up. I wrote a 7th. They put out all 6 with the 7, and then I did a second season of 4 more books. And this was all back in like 2016 through 2019, and that series ended. And now I've gotten the rights back, so I'll be putting out the books again,
Oh,
and
cool.
yeah, with new covers and a new novella to go with it. So yeah, I'm
And now
excited to
the
get back
other
to that.
series that you have coming out in 2026, Old Guns.
Yeah,
What's that? What area is that going to be? What genre is that?
military sci-fi,
Okay.
post-apocalyptic. It's grumpy old men as space marines, 2 older dudes that are just absolutely hate each other, used to be best friends, now have to face this alien invasion that they're 2 of the only survivors of, and the aliens come back. It's really, really fun. I think Old Guns, the first book in that series, is one of the best books I've written. Um, and Young Guns, which is book 2, I finished that last year. My editors told me that they liked it even better than book 1. I don't know if I'd
Wow.
agree with that, but I'm pretty excited. I think it's going to be a fun series. And it sounds like RC Bray is going to be the narrator for that one. So super pumped to hear him bring those 2 guys to life.
That'll be fun. And again, post-apoc, I'll do it. I'll be there for it.
Awesome.
I don't see it. I mean, we have a lot of questions going up here, but they're basically talking amongst themselves. Nothing major. Hi, Duke. All right, Duke is the star tonight. Maybe not as famous as Bunny, but he does jump up there every once in a while. Helldivers is going to take some time to get into. I'm always reading, unfortunately. I have you'll see that's my six bookcases back there. 90% of it's LitRPG, so I just read nothing but at this point.
What's your favorite? I'm curious. What's your
Who
favorite
is my
LitRPG?
favorite, or what is my favorite?
What's your favorite LitRPG?
Why do you do this to me?
Well, what can you recommend that's post-apocalyptic that I let's do
Post-apocalyptic
that.
recommendation would be Jez Kajayo's Rise of Mankind series.
Okay.
It is almost an accidental post-apocalyptic when some aliens get involved up in the orbit, and they more or less started something they shouldn't have. The main character manages to survive the initiation, finds a dungeon core, and goes on from there.
Cool.
It's currently at 8 books. Jez is writing his Underverse series, and so that's put that on hold. I'm still waiting for book 9, and he'll probably yell at me for mentioning that again here now. There is another post-apoc system. It's Shadow Sun by David Wilmarth. It's 6 volumes. It probably could have gone more, but sometimes series just have to hit a point where you can't keep them going for whatever reasons. But that was a very positive post-apoc. I mean, going on there.
Shadow Sun.
Shadow Sun by
Okay.
Dave Wilmarth.
Oh, yeah. I've seen this one before. I'm
Tao
looking him up as
Wong's System
yeah.
Apocalypse. He has created, a huge following with 12 novels in the System Apocalypse series, multiple side stories with additional authors. So, I mean, there's just a ton of things out there. Don't get me going on post-apocalypse, because I could talk and read all day long. That's what got me, excited about Salvage System. When I
Cool.
saw, Chris there with the rat with Bunny. So it's a sweet spot for me. I think you hit it. I'm waiting to see how you do change it, because it's going to be a different mode with the new environment that they find themselves in.
Right. Yeah.
I can't wait
Yeah.
to see how you change it up.
It's more biological, I'll say that. More biological than like the construction side of things in New York, where he's actually building with, pieces of unorganic materials, right? So
Right.
I'm not trying not to spoil anything, but also
No, you have
explain
to. I mean,
that's
no,
different.
it was a very good. I really like the progression of the story. As you read through Salvage System, you go from a system where nobody knows anything about what's going on, and then it progresses very nicely through to the climax, um, with again having to attack a core, because it's all about the AI and whatever controlling the core is. But he just grows, and he's able to save things, saved himself,
Yeah.
and saved the merchant, which was really cool that he kept that promise.
Oh, right.
That
You
doesn't
know,
give much away.
the the thing about my writing style that I feel like is different than a lot of lit RPGs is I don't have a whole lot of exposition in my work. I don't have a whole lot of inner monologue. And a lot of the lit RPG I've read is characters more like really in-depth details of the world. And I love world building, but some of the lit RPGs I have are read just get really into the nitty-gritty details of things. And I didn't so much in Salvage System, which I know probably will turn some readers off. Some readers might like the fast-paced battles and the survivalists, but that's just what I've kind of become accustomed to writing. So that's why I wrote it the way I did. Um, but you know, that's one interesting thing about lit RPG is the style is so much different, and what people like is different than what they do in other genres. So
Well,
that's
there's just so many. There's just, I mean,
yeah,
you have the freedom to mold it as you want it to be.
right.
And that gives you the freedom, and that's what you've done with that. You've created a nice little different story.
Yeah.
And now my granddaughters are having fun out in the background someplace. Hopefully, we can get rid of that noise. But hey, the problem of live. Who's your favorite character? We're running out of time here because we do have a hard stop coming up in 2 minutes. Who is your favorite character to write in Salvage System?
Definitely it was Bunny. I I think that might change in book 2, but I liked Chuck too. Chuck is the ogre. Um I had a lot of fun with Chuck. I think
Mm-hmm.
Liam, I guess
Liam.
is
Yeah.
what. Yeah, but I just like the animal characters. I don't know. Chris was cool, but he's similar to a lot of other characters I've written in the sense of his age and like his personality a little bit, I guess. I've just never been able to write from an animal's perspective like I have in this series. So that was a lot of fun. In book 2 there's a couple new characters that were fun that I'll maybe we can talk about that someday when it comes out.
Hey, I'll come
But
if you come back. I'll love to have you,
yeah, that
as
sounds
long as
good.
I have more than a half an hour with you. How's that? Is that a
Yeah,
deal?
start for sure. It's it to do lives for me, it's hard to schedule them because of well, especially at this time of night. If it's during the day, I can be a lot more flexible. And then obviously if we did a pre-recorded video, it'd be
We can
a
do
lot
that as well.
easier
We'll,
too.
we'll
Yeah.
make it happen. We'll make
Yeah.
anything in the future happen.
Yep. And we can talk a little beyond the 30 minutes here if you'd like. I just need to run here and probably I don't know. We can do a little bit longer here if you have further questions. I'm happy to talk.
I always have questions. Let's
Okay.
see. Night Nick, tell our supreme leader, and James Jordan 2030 said hi. He's heading out. I'm assuming he's one of your followers.
Yeah, James, I know who James is. Yep, he's been big in my fan club over the years and a big Extinction Cycle and Helldivers guy.
So we had Bunny. That was my big question there. Who was the best one to write? You're right, Liam. The way you handle, I mean, Liam turned out to be a really big a big plus at the end. You know, the way he, I mean, unfortunately, he does get used by both sides.
Right.
And, you know, it's a question of who used him properly and who helps him the best. And I think Chris ended up doing that better than what was done to poor Liam first.
Yeah.
So
I think he becomes my second or third favorite character in book two, which so clearly he survives to that.
yep.
Uh, it was fun with some of the villains too, like the let's see, I have the boat captain. That was he? What was he?
Be careful. I don't want to. I don't want you to give too much away because yeah, it does. I mean, the ending was great. I mean,
Yeah, it's been a long day. I'm trying to remember all this stuff. But I said earlier in this interview that I wrote this book like 2 years ago, and that's what often happens because with my books, I always try to do a sim pub in audio, and I'm waiting on narrators their schedules, so I write faster than often these audio publishers can do to get things lined up with especially when it comes to like RC Bray, who I've worked with on a
mhm.
lot of books. He's always year or two out, so. But yeah, I've been very fortunate in the audio space as well. I hope people are enjoying this one and appreciate anyone that gives it a chance. I hope you like it. Definitely probably a different writing style, but I I wrote it the way I thought, well, the way that I'd like to read it. So hopefully it appeals to
Well, it's got
most people.
pop-up's blessing. I mean, that
What?
is without a doubt. I mean,
So what's
that's
pop up? Pop pop. What's that? What's that mean?
well, pop-up is, you know, I'm a grandfather. We've always had pop-ups in
Oh,
my
okay.
family.
Okay.
It's a regionalism.
Okay.
You find pop-ups in the Philly area, um, you know, eastern Pennsylvania.
Okay.
And I've always, you know, three generations. I had Pop Up Eddie and Pop Up Joe, and my dad was a Pop Up, and now I'm a Pop Up.
Cool.
LitRPG Con, prior to it, I created a boomer character in the Discord. Um, Boy, did I create a character there. They adopted me and loved me, thank God. And Pop Up just survives now as everybody's pop-up in lit RPG. They went in, they created a shirt for me, official pop-up of lit RPG. So, you know, and when I went to create my TikTok 2 weeks ago, pop-up was available after
Okay.
how many years of TikTok being around. No one would take a pop-up as a name. That was just incredible for me.
Yeah, that is cool. I think I saw you
That was
post
pretty
that.
cool. That was
Yeah.
pretty easy. So, it's just my character, just me. I'm a
Have you
pop-up.
have you thought about writing your own lit RPG and
Oh
using
God,
that
no.
character?
I'm a consumer. Um, I can
Okay.
come up with ideas. I do have some ideas. I might push it out there to see if someone wants to adopt it. But I cannot do exposition. It's not what I am. I'm a talker. I'm an interviewer.
Media personality.
I am now. Yeah, kind of, sort of. Not as big as I want to be, but I want to get there. And
Just
I'm
keep
still
at
learning.
it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you know.
Yep. This is the genre I feel like where the fans are the most engaged. So I feel like this is a good opportunity for someone that wants to get into this space in the way that you're doing it because there's just like I go to the cons, some of the bigger cons, like I was in New York Comic Con this year and seeing the lit RBG crowd there, it's pretty amazing. Like seeing some of the cosplay, like multiple Princess
Mhm.
Donuts
Oh
and
yeah.
Carl, and yeah, so it's there's a lot of enthusiasm in this genre that's really really cool to see the fans get into it. And I remember my agent telling me like 10 years ago, he's like, if gamers ever turn into hardcore readers, that's going to be huge. And guess what? That's what happened.
It's
And
happened.
yeah, so and Discord and these places where they hang out now is like really great ways to engage for for authors and readers both. And that was interesting when you told me that, some authors aren't. I think it's a little bit different from what I see. Like I don't use a pen name. a lot of these lit RPG authors use pen names, and I guess I've never really known why, but I think it probably has something. Some of them probably are using like their gamer tags. I know one of my buddies that's writing lit RPGs using his gamer tag,
I
like
think that
that
was
he's
just
used his
something
whole
that was
life.
normal on Royal Road as
Yeah,
it developed. Royal Road, you didn't use your real name; you used, a nom, yeah,
that makes
like you said, a
sense.
pen name. So
Yeah.
that's where a lot of that, years ago came from as well. And people still write that way. And well-known authors, when they're still doing it over on Royal Road, they still use, that pen name.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, that makes sense.
and then, just for an example, I'm going to get this in because, hey, I have live interviews coming up. On Monday night, I'm interviewing Tommy Kerper, who is Sour Patch Hero. And now on his fourth
Heard that
book,
name,
he
yeah.
finally has put Tommy Kerper, aka Sour Patch Hero. He is the author of I'm Not the Hero.
Oh
So
yeah.
o'clock on Monday night, we're going to see me and Tommy Kerper. But then on
Cool.
the alternate side of that, a week from tonight, I get James Hunter, who
Okay.
has always been James Hunter. Um, and, some people just, stay right at it with their given name.
Yeah,
Um,
he's Discount Dan, right?
Discount Dan, one of my favorite books of the year. Yep.
Awesome. Cool.
A ton of other books too, obviously, but that's his current go to. Um, so I want to have you back, and we'll be flexible definitely with book two. If I get into Helldivers, we'll expand that talk. If we have to go pre-recorded, more than happy to do so. Anything you want to say to your Helldiver fans, your new Lit RPG fans? The floor
Uh
is yours for the next however much time we
yeah,
have.
I guess I'm just very blessed to be able to do this, and I'm gonna continue trying new things, and we'll do more lit RPG for sure. There's gonna be some new Helldivers stuff coming down the road here fairly soon, I would say, announcement wise. So lots of stuff to look forward to in my universes. If you want to find me, I am on Discord now, but it's a Patreon account. I'm not exactly sure. I think it's open to the public. It's NSS Patreon, but also on Facebook. I'm just Nicholas Sansbury Smith. I have a fan club there that is fairly active. I'm pretty active on social media myself. So if you ever have any questions or comments, that's where to find me. Otherwise, email too. Always happy to answer questions on my books and engage with fans. So, I'm able to do this because people read my books, and appreciate each and every one of you guys. And PopPop, thank you for having me.
Oh,
It's been
absolutely. No,
fun.
thank you
Yeah.
for coming in and inaugurating the live
Yeah,
pop-up
that's
Slit
cool.
RPG world.
That's cool. I appreciate it. Yeah. Um, I I'm glad you read Salvage System. I hope you like Helldivers. That's probably one of my favorite books I've ever written. And Into the Storms is actually the prequel that I see
Yep.
back in your show.
It's
That
back there.
one,
Thank you for sending that.
yeah, of course. It's very relevant in today's time because it's about an AI apocalypse, and it really goes into detail on how things could go badly for us. So I've really been trying to pitch that book as something that post-apocalyptic readers should read, not just for entertainment, but kind of like as a warning, because I do believe we're at a precipice right now with AI, and whether it's going to be a dystopian future or a utopian type scenario. And I don't think it will be the latter unless we start putting safeguards on AI. And this race we have to get to the top and have the most intelligent AI is, I don't see how it ends well for anyone, creators especially. And that's a whole other conversation.
That's a
So
whole different thing. And
yeah,
that's ongoing everywhere.
yep. All
So the
right.
singularity could be bad or the singularity could be good. So I'll have to
Yeah,
figure that
and
out when it gets there.
that is what Into the Storms is about, and that 250 years before my main Helldiver series takes off, and that's when they're living in the skies in these lifeboats because everything else is destroyed. So
So for me coming into the rest of your universes, do I read Helldivers first or do I read Into the Storm first?
Into the Storms is the prequel. I would probably go with that first, and then There's going to be a second prequel coming out in September called Burning Skies, and then the main story takes place 250 years after all that. But the characters in Into the Storms are the ancestors of the main characters in the book series, so I was able to keep at least some sort of, like, similarities and some Easter eggs that fans were able to pick up on. But yeah, I would probably read Into the Storms first.
I've now got my guidance. So
Yeah, hope you like it. Let me know what you think.
I will. I know how to get hold of you now.
Yep.
So Nick, thank you very much for coming by to visit with me tonight. Remember to subscribe to my channel. If you want any NSS fans out there, please do that. Read the books. Most importantly, listen to the books too. Most importantly, do honest reviews, as long as they're all 5 stars, because authors need it. Authors deserve it. Creators deserve the best ratings and the best reviews that you can give them, unless you can do better. Do not be evil with the reviews. I'll get into the story. Well, the Storms book. Don't worry, I'm getting tired now too. I get up at 4 o'clock in the morning because I'm old.
Wow.
So again, we have Monday night, Tommy Kerper. Next Thursday, James Hunter. I've given my post-apoc series recommendations to Nick. So there's a bunch more back there on my shelves, and they're going to yell at me for not mentioning all of theirs, but they're out there. Most of my books back there are apocalypse, post-apoc. So I love them. So Nick, have a great night. Go get your kiddos.
Thank you very much for having me.
See what we can do.
Okay.
You take care. You have a great night.
Thanks
everybody for watching. I'm going to get this up. This will be available on my YouTube channel. Like, subscribe, and all that fun stuff. I'm not good at that, Nick. You have a great night.
You too.
I appreciate you being here.
Yep.
Bye. See you guys later. I am now ending the stream, and good. Bye. Now, if I could do this right, because this is one of my this is Brian's always best favorite, because I never stop timely. So have a great night, everybody. Like my video, subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you on Monday with Tommy Kerper, Sour Patch Hero, author of I'm Not the Hero series, even though he does get the hero wrong in the series. And next Thursday, on the 11th of December at 8 p.m., James A. Hunter, the Ink Slinger, will be visiting with PopPop. You guys have a great night.